introduce Florence Littauer's personality trait theory, which categorizes individuals into four distinct personality types: popular sanguine, powerful choleric, perfect melancholy, and peaceful phlegmatic. If you want to learn more about these terms or get your own personality assessment so you can learn more about your own personality style, you can go to my website at beyond2llc.com. That's BEYONDTWOLLC.com. On last week's segment, we did a show called Navigating Relationships from Singleness to Marriage. But it was the men's edition. This week we have the women's edition. Hello. And tonight's guests are three women who are at different phases in their relationships. So please let me introduce you to them. First, we have Omiana Muller. Omiana is an owner of Styled by Omi Oh My, an image consulting company on a mission to help her clients to execute their personal and business brands with style and confidence. She holds a Bachelor's of Science degree in Business Administration with a concentration in marketing, and she spent several years as an educator for the Prince George's County Public School System. Her passion for helping people win and captivate audiences, her passion for helping people win, which captivates audiences while serving as a dynamic speaker, facilitator, creative director. Clients describe her services as life transforming. Welcome, Omiana.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you for coming. My next guest is Rachel Blackwell. Rachel is a native Washingtonian who loves God and is passionate about spreading His love to all she encounters. She leads a weekly prayer call with a goal to encourage people to establish a relationship with God through prayer. My girl. She enjoys poetry and stumbled upon her gift of writing when a friend spoke affirming words into her life. In 2021, in the midst of the global pandemic, Rachel married her husband, Ron Blackwell, and together they have a son, Elias Blackwell. Thank you, Rachel, for joining us.
Thank you for having me, Karen.
Thank you. And our third and final, but they say to save the best for last, and that is Geneva Ware Rice. Geneva has been married for almost 31 years to Frank, my buddy, Frank Rice. They have two adult sons and one grandson. Geneva was a single parent for 5 years before getting married at age 35. She grew up without examples of healthy relationships and marriages. She is giving all the credit to Jesus for saving her marriage. Currently, Geneva is a member of the First Baptist Church of Glenarden and the executive director of His Sparrow Family Center, a nonprofit whose mission is to serve fathers, men, and their families. Hello, Geneva. Thank you for joining us tonight.
Hello, Karen. Hey, everybody. It is my pleasure to be here. Thank you so much.
I am so excited that we're here. Last week, you ladies, we had the men's edition. So the men gave us their thoughts on some topics that were just very interesting. And their perspectives were very interesting. It was very surprising, actually, to me, some of their answers. But I thought, wouldn't it be fun to do a women's edition? And so you ladies thought you would join me tonight. I'm so excited. So we can talk about what you think about those same topics. Now, later, I want to have a show where all six of us are together so we can talk about he said, she said.
Right.
Okay, so let's get started. Let's start from single, and then we'll go from newly married to seasoned marriage. But I want to get an idea of how each of you would describe your personality. So, Omiana, let's get started. How would you describe your personality?
I would say that I am a fun-loving, extroverted, kind-hearted, love Jesus with all my heart, want to spread love, and just want all of us to have one big party and enjoy life.
Okay.
while we're helping each other to win.
And so you are married, single, you are?
I am single
You're
currently.
single. All right, single. All right. All right. So, Rachel, tell us a little bit about your personality styles.
Like Omiana, I am definitely the extrovert, life of the party. I want everybody to have fun. I want everybody to get along. I'm non-confrontational. Um, yeah, I am just yeah, I just want to have a good time, and I just want everybody to just have a good time. Let's just
Okay.
enjoy life.
Oh, I love it. Now, that's interesting. Before we get to Geneva, I want to say this. I know Omiana's personality style because, we've been in this game together for a while. So, Omiana is a sanguine choleric like me. We share that, which is why she's wearing that bright yellow today. She loves color too. And Rachel, it sounds like you might be a sanguine phlegmatic
Yes.
because you're non-confrontational and the sanguine part loves to have fun.
Yes.
So you know your personality
You're
style.
spot on. Yes.
Oh, awesome. Okay. All right. And Geneva. Welcome, Geneva. Tell us a little bit about your personality style.
All right, Karen, I am a sanguine choleric. And I definitely believe that it's not worth doing if you're not going to have fun at it.
That's
So, but I think as I age, I'm sometimes a little more choleric than sanguine. They kind of go back and forth depending on the situation. But definitely an extrovert. I tell people I'm a double extrovert. I'm probably going to blow you out, but just let me know. I'll pull back and go to somebody else because I don't need the same person. I just need lots of them.
right. I can't believe I don't have a melancholy in here, not even a secondary melancholy in here. Okay, well, hey, melancholies won't be represented this way, but maybe in the comments we'll have some melancholies talking. Hey, Jean, thanks for joining. Okay, so the one thing I think is interesting because I've known Geneva for a very long time, and I know her husband Frank, and they're complete opposites. Geneva, you guys have been married. Tell the people again.
Well, in August it'll be 31 years. Unbelievable. Thank you. Because we are complete opposites. Yeah.
And Dan and I are the same personality styles, but the flip of each other. I'm a sanguine choleric, and he's a choleric sanguine. Hello. Woo! And we'll be married in October for 29 years.
Wow.
So anyway, woo, so we got some knowledge to be dropping on the folks, huh?
Yes.
All right, so I want to understand a little bit more about your personalities. You describe your personality styles, but if you are, and Omiana, you said you're single. Does that mean you're not in a relationship or you are?
I'm currently not in a relationship.
Okay, so I want you to think about some of these questions as it related to maybe past relationships, right? Or even future, how you would like it to be in the future. So let's talk. The first conversation I want to talk about is communication. So the communication, how do you approach effective communication in your relationships?
Well, for me, I think I'm a great communicator because I don't necessarily like to hold things in. If it's a heated discussion, I may need a minute to just process things logically and not so emotionally. But I am the positive side of confrontational. I like to confront things because I think that's the way we learn. I don't like to make a lot of assumptions at all, and I like to understand where the person is coming from. So I
Mm-hmm.
ask a lot of questions like, oh, why do you think that? Okay. Oh, and how did you interpret that? Okay, I understand. But some people get annoyed because I ask so many questions, but it's really very innocent. It's non-judgmental. I just want to understand
Mm-hmm.
coming from. It's just like you're getting information in order to understand. So I like to really just talk things out. They have a stereotype saying that women want you to read their minds, not me.
Me either.
No, I'll usually tell you what I like, what I don't like. And if it's not a big deal, I'll just be like, it doesn't matter to me. I don't have an opinion about that. But I enjoy communicating. I enjoy sharing my feelings, sharing my likes and dislikes. I enjoy getting to know other people.
Yeah.
So I think it's just a blessing to understand one another and just to get a different perspective and so forth. So I enjoy talking things out.
So I love that because sanguine personality styles, we are talkers. That's our thing. It's a gift and a curse.
Yes.
We want to be heard. We want to be able to say the things that's on our mind. But the other thing about, especially as it relates to communication, and this was very much my younger years and a lot less my older married life years, but I was quick to anger. Like, but I got over it just as quickly as I was. We'll talk about a little bit about that as we talk about conflict later.
Mm-hmm.
But we are definitely the talkers. Rachel, how do you approach communication?
So, you guys, being newly married, I am working on my communication. I don't think that I'm the best communicator actually in marriage. My husband, who is excellent at communicating, he deals with things head on. I'm non-confrontational, so I step back and I think about stuff, before I bring it to him. Because I want to gather, my thoughts. I want to actually I write better than I speak, because when I write it out, I can gather it all. I can, erase it and start back again. Because if I just communicate straight up, I feel like I shouldn't have said that, or that's not what I meant, and I'm second
Right.
guessing myself. Yeah, it's a work in progress. My husband's, so patient with me, but yeah.
No, I love that. And I love that you recognize that because phlegmatic personality styles are non-confrontational. That tag for the phlegmatic is peaceful phlegmatic. They want peace at all costs, right? So if I have to avoid a conversation, I would rather avoid the conversation than to argue with you. So I see that as something that you at least recognize and is willing to work on. And I love that you're a work in progress because we all are. All right, so Geneva, let's talk about you a little bit and your approach to communication.
I was just listening to Rachel, and I tell you, my husband is the phlegmatic sanguine, and he is non-confrontational. And I'm the same. I'm the sanguine choleric, and I want to talk about it, and I want to talk it to death. And I've had to learn to change some things. So in the very early part of our marriage, we had conflict because I wanted to talk about everything and get everything straight, and he was like, "I don't really care," but he really did. And so he would just avoid it. And so then I would get mad because I'm gonna get mad, Karen, and stop talking to him. And for a sanguine, that's really challenging because I forget that I wasn't talking to him, and then I make a mistake and talk to him. But it was really bad. Our communication was really bad because he did not want to discuss things, and I felt everything needed to be discussed. And we struggled for, I'm gonna tell y'all, about 7 years. I wasn't sure we were gonna make it. Only the Lord kept that thing together.
That's right. Well, let me just say this. I'm going to give you ladies a tip, especially if you're dealing with a phlegmatic personality or your spouses are dealing with you and you're a phlegmatic. One of the things about a phlegmatic, they process slowly. It doesn't mean they're slow. It means that they process slowly. I said in one of my other podcasts, the extroverts, we process information like this, right? It's really fast to the point, we're finishing your sentences before you can finish thinking about it. Introverts process slowly and methodically, right? And they're thinking about the impact to them, to others, to the world. They're just thinking about all kinds of things. So it takes some time to walk through the things that you really want to talk about yesterday. So for me, I'm like the sanguines in the room. If it's a problem, let's get it off out the way so we can have fun and go on about our lives, right?
Yeah.
But not everybody can process the same way we do, but we have an expectation that they do. And so that is where conflict arises. And so the next question I have for you ladies is, how do you navigate misunderstandings or conflicts in your relationships? So let's start with Geneva this time.
Okay. Um, at this point, I mean, we've been together so long that we've learned to navigate these conflicts. But I would say my Frank is much better at talking. Now he understands that he has to give me my talk time, so we don't need to process it. And I understand that he needs to process after I talk. So he lets me talk. He goes to process, and I only get to say it one time, not over and over and over again. So I've learned to pull back a little bit because we took Karen's class many years ago, and once I realized his personality, we were able to work with that. But basically, we talk about it. But sometimes, these peaceful phlegmatics are not as peaceful as they want you to think they are. And sometimes this man hurt my feelings when he's like, back off. I'm like, well, wait a minute. Or during March Madness, don't talk to Frank Rice during March Madness. It's not going to work. And I make a mistake sometimes and forget it's still March. And he will hurt my feelings by telling me to back off. And so then, me, the choleric then comes out, like, who you think you talking to?
Right.
And so I have to go upstairs praying, Jesus, you better tell him, Jesus.
I think interrupting a man doing his sports is a whole different topic for another show.
Yeah.
Because my husband is the same way. He would not talk to me during the whole month of March until March Madness was over.
Yeah.
He wouldn't talk to me either. But I'm glad you said that because they are peaceful. They want peace. Their basic desire is to have peace, right? But if pushed too hard, right, they will dig their feet in, and you won't push them, and they will stand their ground, and they'll get irritated because they can be very blunt in what they think and feel when they're forced to state an opinion or to state their feelings. So yeah, that's a phlegmatic thing. All right, Rachel.
So, again, my husband, who's the effective communicator, he will broach the subject. He won't give up on me. He'll say, Rachel, something's wrong. We need to talk about it. We can't, brush it under the rug. And sometimes, I'll be in the mood and I'll deal with it, but often I'll just say not right now, or I'm okay, and I'm not okay. But then I'll come around when the time is right for me. Not saying it's right, y'all, but when it's right for me, and I'll discuss it after I've thought about it, because I wanna keep the peace. I wanna say it in a way that he'll receive it. So maybe I'm overthinking it sometimes, but I feel like it works for me because had the opportunity to collect my thoughts, to present it to him, to tell him how I feel about it, why it made me feel that way. But if I deal with stuff head on, or when he wants me to, my thoughts are not gathered, and it can't get resolved because one, I'm emotional about it, or so I have to collect my thoughts, and he has to allow me time to process and to communicate effectively in my time.
I hope he's watching this podcast because if he is, he'll understand that it is a personality trait. It's one of your personality traits that needs time to process information and decide how you want to communicate, how it's best for you to communicate, because you are considering all the factors that are impacting you or impacting him or impacting your relationship. So I hope he's watching that. Okay, Omiana.
Well, for me, I tend to get very excited and passionate, and eager to discuss and resolve and so forth. So for me, I usually have to calm down for a minute. And not that I'm angry or what have you, but just that, oh, let's talk about it now. I have to, just take a pause and take the other person's um, communication style into consideration. So sometimes, I let them take the lead on when it's time to talk about it because I'm ready to talk about it. However, there is a deadline of maybe 1.5 business day. Unfortunately, I just cannot hold a lot in. And if something is bothering me and we can't resolve it in the next conversation, please don't talk to me about the weather or, like if the sky is blue, because then I feel like I have to act a little fake because I'm not in that space to talk about the weather. I want to talk about the elephant in the
Yeah.
room.
Yeah.
So so I do allow time for that person if they're not, just ready to um, deep into resolving the issue or just talking about whatever that needs to be talked about. But I do give a deadline. Maybe I don't know if I communicate that deadline. Maybe not. But I know for myself, like, okay, so what happened on Wednesday? Can we discuss it since it's Friday?
Yeah, I do that too. And we tend to over communicate as women for the most part, right? And so sometimes they run, that's the most dreaded thing to say to a person, can we talk? Or to a man, can we talk? They like, oh God, not the can we talk words. Nobody wants to do that. I love this. Debbie says, yes, I'm a processor too, because I want to be considerate and thoughtful in my responses. And I know Debbie's a melancholy. So that's another introverted personality style that tends to really need to consider every factor before they communicate how they really feel in their thinking, what they're thinking. All right. So we're going to start with the next question. The next question is, what role does active listening play in establishing a strong foundation for communication with your partner? And can you give me an example of that? Let's start with you, Rachel.
What role does active listening play? I believe that active listening is essential because if I'm listening to respond, listening to, get my point across, I'm not really listening to your heart. So I have to I have to really listen to my husband, everything that he's saying before I even want to say but.
Mm-hmm.
I know this, right? This is what I'm saying. I'm articulating this, but it doesn't always happen that way. Because when I'm interjecting or when I want to get my point across, but it makes him feel unheard. You know what I mean? It
Yeah.
makes him feel like you're just trying to get your answer or your point across or your way. You're not hearing me. You don't want to hear what I have to say. So active listening is essential. It's essential to make a person feel that you care about what they're bringing to the table, what the issue is.
Right. So the struggle that the personalities have with that whole theory, because in certain personalities that is a theory, but it is actually what we all should be doing, is actively listening to make sure that we can get a response. We can give them a response that is about the question or the comment that's being made, right? But extroverts, we think quickly. So we're already processing your thoughts for you. We already figure out what you're going to say. We already figure out what it means and then what we want to respond to before you can finish your sentence. And that's really bad active listening. Really bad. But introverts do that. They process it. They take their time with it. They want to make sure they understand what you're saying and what you mean. The fact of the matter is, Rachel, you have one extroverted personality style and one introverted personality style, so you could flow either way.
Yep. Yep.
All right, so let's hear your thoughts about that, Omiana.
Well, so sometimes I have an outer body experience when I am dealing with resolving conflict and just talking with someone because the choleric side of me is listening. However, I'm also being very critical of what you're saying. So I'm going through like, no, that didn't happen. That's wrong right there. But I'm not responding yet. However, I got a thought going over here. I got something else going on over here, but it's all focused on whatever you're saying. However, it's like a whole bunch of other conversations going on. And so I'm like, no, that is not what I said. And so with this outer body experience, because it's like I'm listening to you and then I'm having these other conversations. Now I'm being critical of, no, those are not the facts. That's not what happened. That's not what I said. That's not how it went. That's not the time it occurred. And, so now to bring that all together, sometimes it can be challenging for me because I like to be very accurate. I like to be very accurate, and
That's a nice way to say it. You're always right.
oh man, wait a minute.
Us cholerics know we're always right. We're never wrong. And if we're wrong, we're going to make you think we're right.
Remember, facts are facts. We can't argue with that. So sometimes it's challenging for me. After I get over the point of, okay, it's not about if that was right, if it happened that way, if it was stated that way, this is how they felt. So it's a process for me. And I have this out of body experience where I'm actually going through the process of not being so critical, talking to myself, don't you be critical. It's not about that. And listening. Oh, it's a whole shebang production going on.
Oh, wow.
A whole production. That's right. All right, Geneva, tell me a little bit about what you think about active listening.
Definitely, it's essential, as Rachel said. For a sanguine choleric, though, you have to work at it. And it gets easier as the relationship grows because you have to train yourself to stop doing the out of body experience, Rihanna. You really do have to look them in the eye and pay attention because guess what? They know when you're doing that because they can know you too. Yeah. And it's, so active listening really is a sign of respect. Now, if you really want to hear what I have to say, if you really want to hear about my heart, then you got to put everything else out and focus on what I have to say. And when you do that, then it's easier to follow the conversation and to see it from their point of view. Because being that I have a phlegmatic, I never understood his point of view. He said I was never satisfied. I thought he was not as ambitious as I thought he should be. And so we were both saying the same thing, but from different perspectives. And not over being mad about him telling me I'm never satisfied. I could see it and think I saw it from his perspective. And so I had to change. So I still have 1,000 thoughts going on, but I never share them all with him anymore because I was overwhelming them. Yeah, and I learned that. So I share them with other sanguines and cholerics.
Exactly. Exactly. I really believe that, especially as women, I honestly believe that we have to have somebody, a sounding board that we need to talk to, especially if you're a sanguine and a choleric, because we need to bounce off our ideas and our thoughts and our feelings and our emotions. We need to do that with somebody who can take it. A lot of times, unless you have a man who really wants that, and melancholy men like to engage in conversation. Like they want to get to the bottom of things. Cholerics like to resolve things. But I'm saying for the most part, they don't want to hear every thought we have. And I have 8 billion thoughts. Like, I don't have to give every single thought. Yeah. But I love what you said too. And Pastor Deborah said, that's good. Active listening is a sign of respect. Funny thing, cholerics want respect, but they don't always give it. That is so, ooh. Woo, I think I felt a little woo in my shana-na-na.
Absolutely.
So Karen, are you saying that I need to write the note that I need a guy that's melancholy?
Yes.
Okay. I'll add it to my prayer list.
All right, so let's talk about finances. Let's talk about finances. How do you guys approach finances? Because I want you to think about your personalities, right? And how you approach finances. So let's start with Geneva.
Okay. Of course, we've changed over the years, but based on our personalities, I am the one who manages the finances. because I need it to be correct on time. I need to know where everything is, and I need details. My phlegmatic doesn't need details. He just wants to make sure everything's okay. And once he trusts that I'm going to make sure everything's okay, he doesn't have a clue where anything is. I'm telling you, he doesn't have to. And at first, when we first got married, I was, the man's the head of the household, and he should be the one over the finances and making decisions. And I don't know where I got that from. I really don't, but that's what I was thinking. And so I said to him, "You take over the finances. You make girl, our water wasn't paid one time." And I'm like, "What? It was we didn't have money." He's like, "Oh, I forgot to pay that bill." I'm like, "Nope, nope,
Never again, huh?
never again." And so I'm better at it. I'm better at the finances. I'm better at the wheeling and dealing. And so I do it. And so
Yeah.
I think for me, I had to get beyond what I thought a man should do in a marriage to what our personalities and our strengths were.
That's
And
good.
his strength was just not really paying attention to those bills need to be paid on time.
I love that. I love that because they're so laid back. It's like, oh, don't worry about it. The water won't get cut off today. It got cut off. Oh, don't worry about it. They'll cut it back on as soon as we pay the bill.
I know. Then he would say,
So laid back.
Karen, he would say, "I'll pray on it." Now, how can you argue with a man who keeps telling you going to pray on it? Y'all, I want to take that Bible and hit him. I did want to do that.
See that choleric. Woo. Oh my gosh. Okay, so let's hear what you got to say about that, Rachel.
All right, can we start off with the word grace? Yo, so being a newlywed, we went through the whole premarital discussing our finances and everything. And I am so like uptight when bills come in. I want it paid. Like it's almost like a OCD. Like I can't wait. I pay the whole thing. My husband's is a little more laid back. Rachel, it's okay, we can pay that later, or he get a ticket and it might double, and I'm like, oh my gosh, this is just unacceptable. So right now I'm learning to just give him grace. I can't push him towards anything because I was like, we're supposed to have everything in one bank account, and this and that. Like, so I had to step back because it was meeting some resistance, and I was just like, you know what, this is not my fight. I just have to give it time because nothing's getting cut off, but I have to chill out. I have to give him grace, and do what makes me feel comfortable. I pay the bills that I pay, he pays the bills that he pays. But y'all, finances, if I didn't give him grace, or if I didn't, step back and allow him to do the way that he does, and it will be too stressful for me.
Yeah,
It's a
yeah.
lot of grace in this, and we're still learning, we're still walking through it. So that's my word for finances. Just give them
I
grace.
love it.
And
I love it.
it is because of me, because of things that I've gone through in the past, or things that I've dealt with growing up. Is I think that I'm like a little tighter with finances. I want to save and do all this, and my husband is the shopper, so it creates a little bit of tension. But again, I'm stepping back, and yeah.
I love that. I love that. And I just want to answer, comment on Natasha's comment, which says, I believe it should be what works for each relationship. That is absolutely correct, but it's also based on your personality styles. When you understand your own personality style and the personality style of your mate, that'll help you to navigate how your family will manage your money. And so not understanding that causes nothing but friction.
Right.
All right. So what do you have to say about that, Omiana?
Well, one thing I love about singlehood is you have time to practice. Practice makes perfect. And, that's really what I enjoy about
Yeah.
singlehood, what God has shown me during this journey. So when I was younger, it was shopping, buying whatever I want and so forth. And I love to shop. I'm into beautiful things. I like nice things. So in 2017, the Lord led me to do a no shopping fast. So I didn't buy for y'all for the whole year. I didn't buy not one accessory, not one handbag.
What?
Clothes.
That's
But y'all, I had more than enough. I have clothes that
Oh, I know that, but I'm just shocked because we already know you are styled by Oh Me Oh My.
Right. So, I mean, it was such an amazing experience. I believe like God did some type of transformation where spiritually he just worked on my viewpoint about money, about items because I was also decluttering. So imagine all this money, time, gas to get to the shopping mall and different things like that. Now I was taking all those clothes and shoes and accessories and putting it into big black trash bags, and I had like 6 or more trash bags for Goodwill to come and pick up. Can you imagine the time and energy that was put into all of that? So going through that process, God broke something in me where I was more cautious and I was more cognizant of what I was doing. Do you really want that? Because I was always good with money because we didn't grow up with a lot of money, so and I was very close with how my mom spent her money and different things like that. She would discuss it with me, and when I went off to college she was like, don't you dare get no credit card. So I didn't get a credit card until I graduated college, and even then I'm not into credit cards. I'm not into debt. I don't do those things. I don't like stuff like that. But all this excess money, I could have been putting into stocks or something, but I was like spending. So after I did that fast, it really just helped to form my mindset about spending. So with my personality type, I got the sanguine over here, and then I got the choleric over here. So the sanguine just wants to have fun and get all the fancy and nice things, right? But the choleric is like, let's check our books. Okay, we have savings, we have this, we have fun money, we have money to buy gifts. Da 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 da. So just being able to merge those two together, it's more harmonious now.
Yeah.
And so now that's singlehood, y'all. Y'all pray for me. But
the other thing I find interesting though is that choleric can also take on the listen, it's my money. I made it. God gave me the resources to do da da da. So I'm going to spend it the way I want to. You can't take it with you, blah, blah, blah. They can also go that route. So I'm glad that the part of your personality, because not everybody, if you are a choleric, not every choleric is exactly the same. We're all different for a multitude of reasons. And I'm going to cover that in next week's segment. But you can be a choleric that did exactly what you're doing, more strategic about how we manage money, how we spend money, what we're going to do with the money, where it's allocated. Or you can have the choleric that says, yeah, I'm going to blow it because you only live once, YOLO. You only live once.
Karen, what about that sense of entitlement? At one point, when I was spending money before I had my epiphany, I had this sense of entitlement. I'm single. You're paying for childcare. I didn't have any children at that time. If I want to spend $400 on a bag, that's what I want to do. But then I talked to someone, an older lady at my job, and she was in her 70s and she was still working. And she pulled me to the side one day because she said she saw, I had the bags and the shoes and this and she, in love, she just is like, Rachel, I'm not telling you what to do with your money, but I am telling you that if you don't want to be working into your 70s like I am, you need to get a hold of, of how you're spending your money. And it was just like, I received it.
That's so good. That's so good because most people would not receive it. But sanguines are open. We're very open to receive information and process that information. The phlegmatic in you took it home and was really thinking it through and saying, oh, you know what? She's right. I can do all of these things. I did the same thing to a girl in the hair salon some years ago. I was sitting there, and her and my beautician, or stylist, they call them now, because I'm old, that we call them beauticians back in the day, but stylist. were talking about getting some $1,500 purse. And I said, for real? I said, baby, how old are you? And she said, I'm 23. And I said, let me just say this. You're 23. If you learn how to save your money and put it in the right places, you'll be a millionaire by the time you want to retire. And you won't have to retire when you're 60 and 70 years of age. I said, but that one bag could be money that is seed for your retirement. And she said, I listened to what you said, and I decided not to buy the bag. And I did open up a 401k. But yeah, so I mean, we do feel, unfortunately, there are certain personalities that feel entitled. A sanguine is like, we're going to live, we're not, yeah, listen, life is not promised. We don't know when we're going to go. You see how people leave this world early. Why not just enjoy your life? That's the sanguine. The choleric is, I work for it. I work hard for it. I work hard. I play hard. I'm going to do what I want with my money. So those are two personalities that really don't think about money the same way. The melancholy and phlegmatic, the melancholy is, I know where every penny is. My pennies and your pennies. Okay. I know where it is, and every penny is accounted for, and every penny has a designation. So that's melancholy. A phlegmatic will squirrel the money away. They don't really talk about it. They don't really spend it. It's just put away. Don't worry about what I got going on here. I got it. It's over here. It's put away. So each personality looks at money differently. So I love that, though. There are a lot of comments about your no shopping for a year, and what kind of course did you take, or fast? What was it? So that what was it, Omiana?
Oh, y'all, it was just spirit led. God just told me to do it, and I was just obedient to it. And I just really learned how to enjoy what I have in my closet. It wasn't about competition with other people. It was about just enjoying the pieces that I have and just dressing it up, having fun with it. It was a beautiful experience. And, if you can't do a year, at least try for 3 months or what have you. It was a great experience.
So I love that. And I also want to mention the fact that for me, in this stage of my life, less is more. Like, I am literally, most people who know me personally know I'm an extreme couponer, and I'm a penny shopper. And so I spend my money very tight these days. However, I do a lot of, I like to have so much stuff. Like, I have stockpiles. I have 3 stockpiles of stuff, right? Some of it is like laundry and cleaning products. I have shelves of that kind of stuff. I have shelves of food stuff. And then I have shelves of all kinds of seasonal stuff, like Christmas and, Easter and whatever. I have tons of stuff. I've decided no more couponing, no more penny shopping. Everything I do from this point on is doing less, doing more with less. And I'm going to be doing a yard sale. I'm going to sell a bunch of stuff. I'm going to give a bunch of stuff away. And I'm really downsizing for the next phase of my life. But, you have to get to that place, hopefully sooner rather than later. I will be 62 at the end of the month.
That's right.
I waited 4 years, but I'm saying, especially with the youth on this panel, is never too late. Did you want to say something, Rachel?
I just wanted to say the creativity that comes from using what you have. When you mix and match, like, some of those are the best outfits. That's all.
Yeah,
they are. All right, so let's. I'm gonna get another couple of questions in before, because believe it or not, it's 44 minutes in. Can you believe that? Yeah. Like, we're almost done with this interview. I love this, though. So I want to know, how have you ever? Okay, I want to talk about forgiveness. That's a big deal. Forgiveness, right?
yes.
And it's something that a lot of people struggle with, and each personality style feels a certain way about forgiveness. So how do you deal with forgiveness in your relationships? And let's start out with you, Rachel.
I have a conviction about forgiveness. I have to forgive. Y'all, when I think about, honestly, what Christ did for me, how he forgave me, I have a heart to just forgive. I forgive forgave my dad. And God helped me with that. I had a conversation with a woman who said, what if his only purpose in life was to bring you here? Because if it wasn't for his seed, I wouldn't be here. So it freed me. I had to forgive him, for not, being there in those formative years. I used to harbor bitterness because I'm like, he didn't care if I was sleeping on the floor. But I had to forgive it. And then in the year forgiving him, it allowed us to have a relationship that if I didn't, I would have never been able to get to know him.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
forgiveness is so important, and I'm just grateful that I take hold of that. And it's not a certain amount of times. We're told to forgive 70 times 7, not keeping count. Like, forgive. I know I need forgiveness. I don't do it all right. So it's
I love it. I love it. But I could tell you that it's very challenging for people, especially depending on the offense, to forgive.
Yes,
So tell me, Geneva, how do you approach forgiveness?
absolutely. Being a sanguine choleric, uh, and I'm an extrovert, I think sometimes people think that that means I'm not sensitive, and I'm actually very sensitive. My feelings can get hurt very easily, but how it manifests, it will manifest as anger or I don't care, and I've had to learn to forgive. I have an excellent memory, so I don't forget anything. I don't forget what you said. I don't forget how you said it, and I'm like, okay, I forgive you. But then as soon as you do something else, I'm like, see, just like last time, blah, blah, blah. So I've had to learn to forgive, Rachel. I will tell you that. And to let go of some of the baggage that you bring into a marriage from other relationships. And remember, I was a single parent when I got married and I was 35. So I had a lot of baggage. And I was at the point in life where I'm not going to let people walk over me anymore. And so that even meant my poor little husband. And so if I thought he was trying to walk over me, I would set him straight and then I would remember. And so it has been just in my growth as a follower of Christ that I've gotten better at it. And Rachel, I think for me, the word would be grace, that we all need grace. People don't mean to hurt your feelings. And the only people can really hurt you are the people you love. No
Mm,
one else can. I mean, people that I like or I don't care about, it's like water off a duck's back. But I love this man, and I listen to everything he says and how he says it. So I have to give him grace that he may not have meant it that way.
mm.
And to once I get over my feelings, to go back and say, when you did that, it really hurt my feelings. And I had to get better at acknowledging that it hurt my feelings, not just that it made me mad. So again, that is 30 years down the road, guys. And
Right,
that wasn't an overnight thing.
right, right, right.
New York originally, and I'm a fighter. I don't let people push me around. So I
Right.
had to learn. I had to learn.
I love it. Okay, what you got to say, Omiana?
Well, for me, forgiveness, let me see. How would I say this? So with my personality type, people perceive me to be very kind, very sweet, and so forth, which I am. But people don't know that I actively have to choose kindness and sweetness, because I can respond the same way people are being rude and disrespectful. But because I have a conviction to live a life that's pleasing unto God, and I don't want to go every night. Now I got to go and ask for forgiveness because I did this to you.
Again, Lord.
Now I got to make sure my prayers being answered. So now I got to ask for forgiveness and go down the list. So throughout the years of my spiritual growth, I have, it's more so about my conviction to Christ, and just trying to live a life that's pleasing unto Him. So
Yeah.
I'm more prone to forgive. Now, however, the area where I'm growing in is repeated offenses. Um, like disrespect and rudeness is my kryptonite.
Mm.
And
It is to every choleric.
oh, ooh,
It is to every choleric.
I mean, it's like, yeah.
Oh
So,
my gosh.
So when there's a lot of disrespect, a lot of rudeness, because I'm choosing kindness and sweetness, my way to respond is just to withdraw myself from situations like that, because I don't want to react in a way that's not pleasing to Christ. So most of the time I'm okay with walking away and so forth. However, there's sometimes where I'm not. So I'm in the process where I'm learning, because
Yes.
once you get married, it's like, okay, you're gonna have to deal with this person. If their flaws become, like it's really affecting you in a negative way, y'all have to, work through it with Christ. So
Right.
now I'm at a place where I'm like, okay, Lord, teach me, help me on how to deal with repeated offenses. I can deal with it
I
here and
love
there, but when it's repeated, that's where I'm like, okay, Lord, I really
it.
need.
So I want to read a few of the comments because we had some comments on forgiveness.
Okay.
Natasha says forgiveness is for us. It's freeing to forgive those who've wronged us, and that is so true. I always say unforgiveness is like drinking poison and hoping the other person will die. Not gonna happen. Forgiveness is key, but some people think you dismiss their feelings by moving quickly on forgiveness. I love that. Tashamia,
Tashima.
Tashima, I love that. Love, love, love that. And I tell you why I love it, because I think um, I've had some conversations with people. I'm going to do 2 segments, back-to-back segments on forgiveness, because it's such a hot topic. And some people feel like you shouldn't just forgive people too quickly. Or if you forgive them quickly, then they'll keep on acting up, like you keep talking about, Omiana, the continuous repetitive issues that people bring to you. But also, I've heard people talk about, well, what if somebody, killed somebody in your family? Or what if somebody cheated on you? Or what if somebody stole your life savings? Or whatever it is, why should I forgive them? And so I love that she brought that up, because it is difficult. You may not forget initially, even though Christ said when we did something that was sinful, we asked for forgiveness, he forgave us, and he never thought that sin never occurs, as if it never occurred, right? But we as flawed human beings, that's more challenging for us to do.
Right.
Look at this. Holding on to bitterness will drag you down. That is so true, right? And somebody was really reacting to your comment, Omiana, about I actively choose kindness. Don't get it twisted. She thinks you're hilarious. And you are hilarious. And Pastor D, my favorite lady, is on here. She said, forgiveness is an ongoing choice. It is a choice.
Yes.
If we wait to feel it, it won't happen. Hello. Hello.
Right.
His grace and strength, right, will get us through this no matter what. So I love that. Yeah. Jeremiah, he says, speak up in a respectful way so that you don't hold on to those feelings. Then you can forgive.
Yeah.
And that is it. And I think the thing is this. I feel like when we are not in a space where we can forgive, it ties us to the offense and the offender, right? Mm-hmm. So once we say, I can forgive you, it releases us. We think we think we're holding the other person hostage because we're angry. And I think my husband taught me this some years ago. I would walk around forever mad. Like I could be a month mad. You said something to me, I'm not talking to you for a whole month, right? But not only am I not talking to you for a month, but I will answer you 3 ways. It's you ask me a question, is either yes, is no, and if it's more than yes or no, it's I don't know. But what I realized is that I would see him after I'm mad and I'm brewing in the other room and I feel my blood pressure rising and my stomach got knots in it and I just feel my chest tight. And he's in the room laughing and talking to somebody for, what? So I'm like, I'm mad at you, but you walking around like you don't even know I'm mad. You don't care I'm mad. So who's wounded, me or you?
Mhm.
So that helped me to learn to forgive because I recognized that it didn't get me anywhere not forgiving.
Yeah. But Karen, you have to say,
Mhm.
in the 31 years, and I agree, you got to forgive, but it's very challenging in a marriage to do that. And so in the beginning, you do learn because I think only it comes back to the repeat offenses. It's not the or two times. If they do the same thing over and over, it's like, are you listening to me? Do you hear the words coming out of my mouth? How could you love me and you keep doing this, right?
Right.
So I had to get to a point where, I just prayed on it. I'm telling you, Frank used to, because we both got married older, you know what? I was 35, he was 39, and he's a Washingtonian. He knew everybody in the world. So this is back in the day when there was Heckingers. He would go out on Sunday, y'all, to Heckingers that closed at 5 and wouldn't come home till midnight. No cell phones, no calling, no calling. He didn't have a cell. That was before cell phone.
Right.
And the first time he did it, I just knew he was dead on the side of the road, right? I'm like, oh Lord, he's dead. We just got married, got this house, and I got these babies. Okay. He come in happy. I'm like, where were you? Oh, honey, I ran into my friends and we just hung out and started talking. And before I knew it, it was late. Girl, y'all know I wanted to hurt him, right? Okay, fine. I'm crying because I couldn't believe he did all this. Don't do it again. Honey, I'm from DC. I know how to take care of myself. You don't have to worry about me. Okay. So he said he wouldn't do it again. Only he did it again. Okay. I didn't go crazy the second time because I knew what he had done. But I just started praying. I said, Lord, help me to be the wife that Frank needs so that he can become the husband that I need. Okay.
Amen.
Yes.
I love that.
So one night the Holy Spirit said, do it to him. Do it. I'm like, what? Do it to him. So every Friday I would go get my hair done.
You sure that was the Holy Spirit?
I'm sure. I was like, go get my hair done. And after getting my hair done, I went out to the mall. And it still was only 9 o'clock, and I didn't want to bring my friends into it. So, y'all, I'm driving around the Beltway, sleepy as a dog, because I'm still too scared to sit in the parking lot, right? So I came home at midnight. Lights are on. I didn't call or anything. He's like, oh my goodness, where were you? I said, oh, honey, now I know what you mean. I ran into my friends and time just got away from us. I kissed him and went up to bed. He never did it again. Never did it again. Hallelujah.
Okay. If you say it was the Holy Spirit, I believe you. All right, ladies, we have really come to the end of the show. I want to know if people, first of all, if there's anything going on in your lives that you want to share with the people about your businesses or your ministries or anything that you do that you want to share. Let's start with our single woman, Omiana.
Well, thank you all so much for tuning in. This was just awesome. Thank you for all of the comments. Please follow me. I'm on Facebook, Instagram at Styled by Omi Oh My. I look forward to just connecting with you all. You can send me DMs, any help you need with styling, confidence building, doing lives, whatever it may be.
So spell Omi Oh My so they know what that is.
Oh, sure.
Styled by.
Okay, yes. So
Open the screen.
style. Yes, it should be on the screen, but STYLED Omi Oh My OMI.
Thank you, Omi. All right, Rachel.
All right, I am on social media, Facebook as myself, Rachel Blackwell, Instagram as Glorae, GLORAE_Y. And I have information on those pages for my Thursday morning, tomorrow morning, prayer call at 6:15. I love to for you to join in prayer. Is powerful, y'all. He hears
All
it.
right.
Amen.
Now, if you can, Rachel, put it in the chat so that they can get the information in the chat.
Yeah.
All righty. Miss Geneva, what's
Oh,
going on with you?
thank you, Karen. I am 2 years ago, I'm the founder and executive director for a nonprofit organization called His Sparrow Family Center. Our mission is to serve fathers and men and their families. And so we are still growing and getting started, but we really work on relationship education, parenting, and economic mobility, I would say. And one of the things that we want to do is just bring to the table speakers such as yourself. Karen's worked with me in the past on with fathers around personalities, and so we are just getting started. But it is just a wonderful His sparrow because God takes care of us. We don't have to worry, but also because we do focus on men and fathers and the issues that they have to deal with in caring for
Mhm.
families and their communities. Yeah, I'm
That
excited.
is so needed. I really appreciate you, Geneva, and the work that you do because it is so needed. The fathers need support.
Yes.
And thank you so much, ladies, for joining. If you want to put your information in the chat so other people would be able to access it when they're looking at this later on today, I just really appreciate everything. Next week's show, you guys, is going to be called Navigating Relationships. That's not it. It's called, oh, here it is. Decoding the Personalities, Unveiling Secrets to Thriving Relationships. We're going to be breaking down the personalities over the next 2 weeks. So come with your questions, your comments next week on Wednesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on this show. Here's a little video. Let's see here. We can get that thing added to the stream here. It's acting kind of slow. There it is. I guess it didn't like as many people. All right, so I guess it's not going to run. Can you guys still hear me?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to remove it from the stream because it looks like it's not going to run. It's basically a little promo for the show next week. You'll get to see it later. But thank you for joining me on Personality Speaking, where our goal is to help you build healthier, stronger relationships through the understanding of the personalities. I thank you, ladies, for joining me. You're wonderful, and we'll have you back again. And I don't know why this is popping back in, but we'll have you back again.
Thanks, Karen.
I don't know if you all can see it, but I certainly could not.
No, I couldn't.
But anyway, thank you so much again. We'll see you when we have the guys together so we could do a he said, she said on the same topic. So I appreciate you all for coming, and good night, everybody. And we'll see you next Wednesday at 7 p.m. Take care.
Good night.
Good night.
Thank you, Karen.
Thank you.
Bye, Rachel, Omi.
Bye.